Hi everyone, welcome to this webinar on the rise of retail media. My name is Andy Stephen, Sales Director for Criteo's retail media team. I work with new retailers launching retail media programs on Criteo's technology in Northern Europe, including Sweden and the Nordic markets. Delighted to be joined today by Charlotte from IAB. Charlotte, thank you very much for having us. Also Sergi from Alpro and Olivier from Media Marketing Delays. So it's great to have everyone on this panel today to discuss retail media. Here's an overview of what we will cover in today's session. I'm going to kick off by providing an intro to retail media, what it is and why it's important today. Then I'm going to hand over to Olivier, who's going to provide an overview of the Media Marketing Delays retail media business. Following him will be Sergi, who's going to give a similar insight into Alpro's retail media strategy as a brand or as an advertiser in the retail media ecosystem. And then we'll finish with a panel discussion and Q&A. So what is retail media? This is a good place to start. The best way to define retail media is adverts or advertisements placed on a retailer's e-commerce site by a brand in order to influence the customer at the point of purchase. So there are many ways that brands or agencies on behalf of brands can reach retailer audiences. This can be through offline engagement, in-store, floor stickers, but also, and this is going to be the subject for today, online. So on the digital properties of the retailer. Okay, so on the retailer app, website, or even offline, but across the internet while the users are browsing. But what does this mean in reality? So a good place to start is Amazon. So Amazon are one of the global leaders in retail media. And you can see this screenshot here from Amazon.com in the US. And you can see that the customer has entered a search term, pet shampoo. And at the top row of the results are 4 native ads. So these are ads that feel like organic product listings. You can see that they are actually indeed sponsored because they're indicated as such. And here, the sellers of these items or the brands are actually paying to have the product promoted and higher up the page. So if, as a user, I click on the item, Amazon will earn some revenue and the seller will be charged for that click. And really, that's the business model for the retailer. Here's another example. So this is Asda. Asda in the UK are one of the largest grocery retailers. And you can see here that on this category page, not only will they have sponsored product placements, they also have an arrangement of display banners. So you can see there is a display banner, a static IAB format at the top of the page, just here. And then lower down, we actually have examples of proprietary commerce display formats. So these are formats where the brand is able to integrate creative, okay, and also elements from the product feed, so real-time stock and price availability and calls to action like shop now. So these are 2 classic retail media ad formats that hopefully help you understand what we're talking about when we say retail media. So why is it exploding? Well, I think we all know that COVID has brought more shoppers into market online. This is not a trend. This is something that will continue. It's estimated that 26% of shoppers in Europe make at least a weekly purchase online. And there's going to be an additional 50 million new digital buyers within the next 3 years. So what we're seeing is retailers are shifting their strategies and focusing more on digital and also doubling down on e-commerce and how they can generate advertising revenue. And the whole idea with retail media is that it's win-win-win for the 3 different participants. On the one hand, you have the retailer. For the retailer, by operating a retail media program, they're generating revenue, and this is a new revenue stream. Okay, their usual business is selling products, and now they're actually selling ads, right? And they're acting as a publisher. So this is a really new business model, but it's an incredibly high margin business model compared to the sometimes low margin retail business that they're in. The other benefit for retailers is that by operating a retail media program, they're deepening their relationships with brands. So not only are they working together on trade relationships and trade agreements, but now retailers are beginning to work with the media teams of brands. Okay, so they're tapping into new budgets and working with new team members to bring new opportunities to brands to help them reach customers at later stages in the shopping journey. And finally, with the upcoming deprecation of third-party cookies, retail media gives retailers the ability to really leverage and double down on their first-party data. Retailers are sitting on a goldmine of data about their customers, their interests, their desires. It's really valuable to brands and agencies, and retail media is a way for them to monetize that data and to leverage it and to ultimately serve their customers. For brands, retail media provides them with an advertising channel that is accountable to sales, and this is critical. So this isn't about spending ad hoc. This isn't about spending and hoping. This is about spending and measuring, adjusting, and actually seeing real impact on sales, which sometimes when, for brands whose products are often sold at retailers and they're not the ones controlling the sale, isn't traditionally something that brands have been able to do. And linked to that, brands through retail media can access unique data, as we just discussed, the unique first-party retailer data, and also access these incredibly unique inventory and ad placements. And it's no longer making them reliant on third-party cookies. And finally, the consumer. The most important part of the puzzle is the consumer. And retail media, or at least a successful retail media program, will always have the shopper front of mind, will ensure that ads are highly relevant to the shopper's experience, that are not disruptive, that actually help them discover and find products that are new and right for them, okay? Therefore, we have a win-win-win for all three parties. We'll hear a bit shortly from Sergi about Alpro's strategy, but these are really the top reasons why brands are turning up the taps on retail media and spending more. And really, the main reasons are as follows: that it allows them to follow the consumer shift to e-commerce. It allows brands to tie their spend to sales, as we looked at. It allows them to use purchase and browse data for targeting, to leverage the first-party data, to reach people at the point of purchase, of course, as we looked at with the sponsored product placement, and to target shoppers with high purchase intent. And the net result is incredible results in terms of ROAS and return on investment on ad spend. So this is the final really important reason why brands are spending more and more. So if we zoom out and think about the total retail media pie, it's estimated that just short of 60 billion was spent last year on retail media, with two giants winning 70% of the pie, Alibaba and Amazon. Now, if we look at the US market, Amazon account for approximately 50% of e-commerce sales, but they actually account for 75% of retail media revenue, right? And that's a disproportionate share of the pie. So what we're seeing in other markets, and this will be the case in the Nordics, is that retailers are building out their own retail media strategies to ensure that, of course, Amazon are causing a transition to retail media, but other retailers need to be tapping into this business model as well. It's not just the big marketplaces that are launching retail media programs. And of course, we're going to hear from Olivier today about delays, but there are across Europe, retailers are really scaling up their media businesses. Okay, and here are some of the examples of some of the customers that Criteo work with in different categories. And you can see here that, yeah, there's a big movement, and some of these teams are 50, 100, 200 people now. So really offering a strong, robust offering to brands. So what about the Nordics? So the Nordics, as we said, Sweden, obviously Amazon launched in Sweden a little bit more recently, but of course they come not only with e-commerce expertise, but also now this advertising expertise. So what we're anticipating, what we're seeing in the market is retailers in the Nordics also investing in their media strategies and their technology to become publishers. And really this is where Criteo comes in. Criteo's role in the retail media ecosystem is the technology provider, the platform that A, enables retailers to run their retail media business, and B, enables brands a platform to actually buy the retailer inventory. So we're essentially creating an ecosystem for retailers on the one side, like Deleuze, who we'll hear from, and then brands like Alpro to actually purchase this inventory. So I hope this provided a helpful overview and introduction. I'm now going to hand over to Olivier, who's going to talk us through the media marketing business of Deleuze.
Thank you, Andy. Our Deleuze is one of the largest food retailers in the world, an international group present in 3 continents, mainly in the United States and Europe. And we operate a network of over 7,000 supermarkets. More than 400,000 employees work around the world to serve more than 50 million customers who visit the stores each week. But the strategy is to keep the local brands in the different countries. In Belgium and Luxembourg, you can move on the next slide. The brand is Deleuze, and it is one of the most important players in the food retail market in the country, with a market share of over 25%. We operate a fleet of more than 800 stores. Almost 20% of the stores are owned by the company, and 80% are affiliated stores. We have AD, Classic Supermarket, Proxy, Convenience Store, and SNG petrol station. And of course, Deleuze has its own e-commerce site that delivers 15,000 orders per week, either home delivery for 70% of the cases or pickup point 30% of the cases. The brand essence we want to claim is better eating as the heart of better living. Well, first starting from the consumers, of course, the value proposition has been built on 3 pillars around health within the brand territory: healthier eating, planet, and lifestyle. And since the end of last year, we have arrived in a new era, the era of Super Plus. We moved basically our loyalty card from a simple earn points tools to a platform that gives buying power to our customers, and that reinforces basically Deleuze healthy eating strategy. Thanks to personalized promotion on healthy products, flexibility on various possibilities to earn and redeem points, guidance and transparency to eat healthier. And this formula, I could say, that has been really appreciated by the customers. And conclusion for us, MMD also, is that our databases has increased significantly. With more insight on buying behavior, the customer have given approval to be contacted by partners of Deleuze, FMCG brands, endemic brands, as Andy said, but also other sectors like tourism industry, entertainment, banking, etc. But the key question, why is it important? And I will elaborate more on what has been introduced by Andy, because I will take it from a broader perspective than e-com. From a retailer perspective, it's clear, it's a no-brainer. The retail ecosystem leaders like Alibaba, Amazon, etc., are challenging traditional retail. And because the common aim is to build moats around the consumers, which make them first essential in the customer journey, and at the end, addicted and even prisoner of the gigantic moats around them. And conclusion, profit is not on the side anymore of traditional retailer. It's key that retail media is a path to profitable revenue growth. But also looking at the perspective of the advertiser, retail media becomes more and more important because the leading challenges facing CMOs are driving growth, providing return on investment on marketing activities, generating customer insight, and connect advertising to shopping behavior. So it is key for a brand to contact the customers at the moment of truth to drive conversion. It is key for advertisers to be able to reach a larger audience, but also to have targeting capabilities. And marketing performance is an illusion if it's not based on a good data quality. So our journey started in May 2017 with 4 people only, and there are 10 today. And the first year was basically a year of construction, we had to define our strategy and the scope of our activity. And what is retail media, or at least what we wanted to create with MMD? MMD, I would say, is at the crossroads between an advertising network and a media agency. And retail media is a smart combination to activate with a global above-the-line media plan with several advantages. First, the Deleuze shoppers are a premium audience for the advertiser, and especially when there is a fit with their brands. A lot of touch points are available on or off to achieve considerable media impact at national level. But if the brands on the other side, if the brand's marketing plan requires personalization for greater relevancy, consumers can be contacted in a targeted manner. And there is a guarantee also of the last leg of funnel marketing, which is fundamental in the customer journey. And finally, MMD draws on the Deleuze Group expertise in terms of shopper data before running a media plan, but also shopper data after running a media plan for the post-reporting. So, okay, all this is clear for us, but it's not the case for advertisers. It's not always clear that there is an advantage. So the conclusion soon became really clear for us. We were not creating a new department in the company. We had to create our own brand identity to dissociate ourselves from the image of a traditional retailer and clarify our position in the market. So looking at the offer, the retail media asset, as I said, is much more than online media, as introduced by Andy. Basically, we have at MMD, we have 5 pillars. We have offline and out of home. We have online, of course. We will focus on that one. We have CRM, eCRM, and we have in-store. And the last one is everything related to data. If we focus on the in-store media offering, what solutions are available? Basically, it can be a floor or window sticker, sampling or testing cabinet, a communication on shopping carts or digital screens at the entrance to a store. So we have more than 50 media tools available in the catalog to stimulate shoppers throughout the shopping journey all along the year. Looking at the offline, in above the line, it's possible for brands to be displayed on a truck that go around the country to deliver the 800 stores, or to be published in a Deleuze magazine, which has been the most widely read magazine in the country for the past 5 years. Regarding the CRM or personalized communication plan, we keep the interaction and attention rate very high because we only target relevant segments based upon the briefing and the objective of the brands. Basically, we have 4 types of possible targeting. On past behavior, buying behavior. Do we want to reach buyers or non-buyers of a brand, new buyers of the brand? Do we want to retain loyal customers or do we want to win back lapsers? All that type of questions. Looking at social demo, of course, age, location, gender, available for any segmentation. A third possibility to use predefined Deleuze segments like premium foodies, convenience seekers, etc. And last but not least, if a brand wants to acquire new customers, we can run algorithms to predict future behavior. Finally, if we look at the online pillar, it's obvious. This is the growth lever for MMD. All advertisers are shifting a significant part of their budget to e-commerce, and they are looking for media support to stand out from the competition. And here again, retail media offers a whole range of conversion tools. Standard display advertising, okay, but also more native formats, totally integrated into the site's product catalog, with an add to basket button each time to ensure both brand visibility, but also sales uplift. And this has been developed in partnership with Criteo and have unsurprisingly been booming at MMD for the last 2 years. So, okay, developing a coherent media and data offering to implement an effective media plans for brands is one thing. But the other essential thing is to understand who our clients are. And we consider 3 main types of clients in retail media at MMD. First of all, what we call the national brands or the endemic brands, Unilever, L'Oreal, P&G, etc. For them, it's obvious. The MMD is the top player in the market. It allows them to get in touch with the customers, and there is no go around if they want to advertise in store or on e-shop. So one basic rule, they need to know what is expected in terms of return on investment. Then we have the non-endemic brands, meaning all other industries, other sectors like tourism industry, entertainment, banking, NGOs, whatever. Here, it's more complex because MMD is rather unknown. Those companies, they don't know us. They don't know that we can offer them visibility and targeted communication. So we need to convince them that we have interesting media for them through inspiring cases, benchmark IDs, etc. And finally, the other clients we have are the media agency, like the media brands, Group M, Dentsu, etc. And for them, MMD is a smaller player. Most of the time, it's not on the agenda compared to other media sellers. So we need to deliver promised result, real time, on reach, views, etc., but also proof of play, right execution of campaign. They are really demanding, and there is a need for MMD to be up to speed with all innovative media tools, analysis, inspiration, etc. And to conclude, I'm happy to say that since our start 4 years ago, we were able to confirm double-digit growth year on year, to contract more than 200 clients, to make them loyal and satisfied. And we have been busy to market ourselves and scale up on our B2B initiative, reshaping the B2B MMD website, the monthly newsletter, activating the linked pages, organizing webinar like this one here, specific topic like eCRM data, etc., building content partnership with publisher, etc. And actually the objective, and I will end with this, is to keep creating awareness always about MMD and to take the leadership in Belgium, at least on retail media. Thank you. Sergi, I give you the floor.
Thank you, Olivier. So indeed, on the flip side, I'm going to talk about the experience from the brand, from one of these FMCG brands that Olivier was mentioning. Perhaps it's good to, because I'm conscious that I'm presenting in the home country of our main competitor, Oatly. It's good to introduce the story of Alpro to all of you, which is the story of the pioneer in plant-based. We started this journey in 1980. One anecdote that it's not that well known is that the founder, Mr. Van der Mortele, actually came with the idea in a field trip in Madagascar, and the intention was to cut the middle cow, sort of saying, and provide some nutritious drink to the people of the island. That idea flourished, and it was put in place in Belgium in 1980, and that's where we start seeing the development of a lot of research as well on the Alpro side for the different products that in the end we are marketing nowadays. In 2009, we were acquired by an American company called White Wave, but it's also the year where we started the first paid search ads, so quite early in time compared to other companies. In 2012, we were marketing around 30 markets already, and we had a single website providing information to all of these markets. And crucially, in 2013, the decision was made to in-house the digital and media team. And we're going to show in a second what were the benefits that were foreseen. But let's come back before, just to finish the journey. In 2017, Danone acquired White Wave, and with that, Alpro as part of that package. And in 2020, we've just celebrated 40 years anniversary. So we're kind of a grown up, or in our adulthood as a company, but still a way to go, of course. Now, referring to those tangible benefits that I was mentioning, for us, the in-housing of the digital operations and media operations meant cost saving. That's the obvious one, but also more transparency, more visibility into our performance, also the speed in which we could set things live and also optimize. And as well, the investment on the team talent, knowing that it stayed within the team and that it kind of expanded organically is one of the benefits as well. Now, where do we sit as a team? The global team of Alpro is sitting in Belgium, in the city of Ghent, where it was born. And there is the global marketing and innovation department for plant-based, from which 5 different units depend. Some of them are research, some of them are product innovation, and one of them is brand equity. Brand equity is kind of like controlling what is the content production and also the media or the activation part of it. So that's where my team sits. And in the next slide, you're going to see the organogram as of nowadays. So basically, the people in my team, all of them with global functions, they are responsible for owned, paid, and earned media, distributed also as well geographically. And the people that you see to the right, these are the digital brand managers in each of the main markets or clusters of markets. And they are essential for our work, since they are our eyes and the people that help us interpreting what is needed in the market. Some of their colleagues also sitting in the local offices are what we call customer or shopper marketeers. And they're also important here in this in the topic of today, because they are responsible for the relationship one-to-one with the local retailers. Now, as of now, we are servicing 43 markets. Just as we speak, we are onboarding some countries in Africa, like Ghana. But this is the latest official number. And as you see, just last year, we onboarded new markets such as Morocco or Japan. So the learning curve for our team is, as you can imagine, quite steep. And we also need to kind of challenge ourselves to be always open to what's the reality and the media landscape in each market. In the next slide, you'll see what are the main responsibilities of our team. So obviously, onboarding these new markets to the Alpro ways of working, managing these own channels that I was referring before, also providing strategy, planning, and activation. And activation is the key element here that I'm going to refer back to. Providing learnings to the markets, monitoring performance and optimizing performance, facilitating data-driven decisions off the back of this performance, and also driving innovation for the markets. We, as a global team, have the responsibility sometimes to push beyond the comfort zone where some markets find themselves. Now, I was mentioning that the 0.5 is kind of crucial here, and it's because my team actually buys digital media themselves. We buy it in-house. So for us, when it comes to retail media, anything that we can access through a self-serve proposition, we do it ourselves, and that includes Amazon Media and Criteo, obviously. When there is a bespoke opportunity with one local retailer, this is managed by the local customer marketeer. That probably what they're going to do is coordinating the promotional agenda, the in-store advertising material together with this more e-com environment. From our digital strategy perspective, we understand that also for an FMCG brand like Alpro, there are a lot of efforts that these brands we put on awareness and consideration. Now, the challenge for a brand like us is piggybacking on the digital on the digital media on these previous efforts, and that's why we ask ourselves and we ask the markets to try to close the gap between that consideration point to the actual conversion. And we see that we can do this objective through different initiatives. One simple one is actually trying to always prompt some sort of action, whether it's visiting our website or visiting the closest brick and mortar retailer. We think that that's our must to just try to encourage that that purchase. Another one is that in our website, we're also trialing some synchronization with online retailers so that there is a seamless experience from the user perspective, and that they don't need to log in or log out from their user their usual online retailer account. And finally, through promoted product ads like the type that Criteo offers or Amazon offers, just to spark that sort of, it's almost like the last mile in which you can still encourage purchase or conversion from your consumers. That to us is obviously relevant to increase the conversion weight in the consumer journey funnel. And that's it in a nutshell from Alpro.
Thank you, Sergi. And thank you, Olivier. Those were really, really insightful presentations. And I think congratulations as well for the amazing work you've done, I guess, especially in the last 18 to 24 months as the landscape has shifted dramatically. There have been a number of challenges along the way. So thank you for sharing those insights. So what we wanted to do now was just run a quick Q&A, and we've got some questions prepared for you both that I think it would be helpful for the audience to hear you discuss. But of course, we can, if there's time, look to take some audience questions as well. But the first one I had was actually for you, Sergi, which is you talked a little bit about the management of budget, both at the global level but also locally. But like, where are the brand budget in order to fund retail media campaigns? Where are the budgets coming from? And can you talk a little bit more about the access that the national media dollars have for retail media?
Sure. Well, it's been a journey. My own background is on media agency. I was working at Mindshare in London before joining Alpro. So when I joined in 2018, we were not investing from a consolidated perspective on retail media or on self-serve retail media, let's call it this way. So what we did as a global team was to invest or encourage adoption from our own pot of budget. So it was a global media budget, also related to what I was mentioning before about driving innovation. So this was our way of pushing the boundaries of on some markets. Later on, when we saw or when we proved the success for the markets, then it was funded by the media budget from the markets themselves. And now the latest is that it's starting, so the budget are starting to come from the shopper marketeer pot, so more promotion side of things. So it's interesting how it's moved as, you know, it's been proved that it was working for the markets, but definitely we are growing with every new step as we're seeing the return on ad spend, you know, increasing or consolidating.
Yeah, interesting. I guess they see the proof points, right, and then begin incorporating into their own budgets. Okay, thank you. And Olivia, I had one for you, which is, you know, central to any strategy is the customer, and I'm really interested to understand how at Delhaize you protect the customer experience and even enhance it through your retail media operations, and whether that has provided any like challenges in your journey.
That's a good one, because running retail media can be a struggle between, I would say, opposite priorities. And it's true that sometimes we have we are stretched from demanding requests that are not easy to conciliate, I would say, within the retail strategy. I would say that the golden rule is in retail media is to define governance rules. That's really key, to define the rules with all the key stakeholders, meaning the sales, the management at sales part in the stores, and management on e-shop, management in marketing, etc. We should align all the managements, and because it allows us then to define the right media ecosystem that we allow to promote to advertisers. If there is confusion on that one, it's a problem. And once we have the guiding principle, it's easy then to say exactly what is allowed or not in terms of media activity for an advertiser. It is also clear which type of content message we accept or not to maximize relevancy, like you said in the beginning. Which level of media saturation do we agree on? For example, on some tracks on eShop, I'm already at 100% fill rate. So I'm at the level, at the max. I would like to open it more, but I cannot, because otherwise I will create problem in the shopper journey and maybe generating bounce rate, etc. And this needs to be done for each media, in-store, personalized communication, magazine, shops, e-shops, etc. And if this is done, if it's correctly designed, actually you are not anymore in conflict with the brand essence of the company, meaning the brand essence of the retailer, here, Deleuze. And I can, in this case, always guarantee that it's going to be a positive experience for the final consumer, because this is what we aim to. And also, it's going to deliver a good return on advertising for the advertisers. And as you said, also in the beginning, it's going to be, conclusion, a triple win scenario. And it's clear that when there is a fit between the strategy of the brand and the strategy of the retailer, it's not a triple win scenario, it's a 1,000 win scenario, because then everything is maximized.
Yeah, it's a great point, and it's something as Criteo that we work through with each of the retailers that we work through, is like, what's the right mix of media that works for their business, and we kind of help them guide them through that internal dialogue. And to be quite concrete, I mean, this can be like maybe just quite simply the number of ad placements on a category page, right? The number of display pages and the location of the display placements on different pages throughout the site. And this is something that, yeah, these are decisions that each retailer needs to make just to get that right. And it's often some retailers are a lot more commercial in their strategy, so have, you know, many more ads, whereas others it's really subtly layered in. So, and of course, what you gain from a customer experience perspective can of course has the impact on the revenue potential, depending on how aggressive the retailer wants to be. So it's an interesting journey to go through. I think, Sergi, I had one for you as well. We talked a little bit about third-party cookies in the intro, but I'm interested to hear your view on the impact that you think the deprecation of third-party data will have on like retail media broadly, but also your retail media strategy.
Yeah, so much fussle and all these discussions about cookies going, right? Like anyone following the latest developments on that, I think that we all agree that there are three main solutions or three main attention points. One is contextualization of advertising. The other one is leveraging first-party data, and the other is third-party data. And on that, I would say that third-party data coming from retailers, it's going to be extremely valuable, as Olivier was also mentioning before. I would say that if any, the deprecation of third-party cookies for retail media in particular, what it shows is that retail media is already a highly contextualized environment where the user is showing purchase intent, heavy purchase intent. So if any, that's kind of a very safe environment for us. And if we have uncertainties in other websites or in other environments, certainly this one feels like one where we can step up our presence. At the end of the day, we know that the user is there to make a purchase, and we're just bidding on the relevant product category, competitor terms, or our own terms.
Yeah, makes sense. Thank you for that, Sergi. And Olivier, back to you. I'm conscious that we have on this webinar some representatives from retailers, and maybe they're at different stages of their journey. You've been doing it a few years, but maybe there are some retailers who are less mature in this retail media journey. So I'd be really curious if you could share maybe some advice to retailers who are considering either launching or really scaling up their retail media monetization programs. And I think the two areas of focus that would be interesting would be, one, the sort of technology, especially related to the e-com digital side, and then B, like, organizationally, how to build out this business unit.
Yeah. My advice would be to follow the right sequence to set up the different building blocks. First, as I said, you need to spend enough time inside the company to define the rules. I repeat it because that's the most important part. Otherwise, you always it's complex. Because this will define the foundation on which you can build your retail media project. Meaning, you know exactly what is in your scope and what is not in your scope. It's really important to understand what is not in your scope. Take an example. Sergi, maybe I will take one of your products. Retail media is not to set up a promotion 2+1 on an Alpro ice cream. That's not the business of retail media. That's not my business. My retail media is to set up a full media plan for Alpro ice cream, to build awareness, to drive conversion, to build loyalty on each step of the marketing funnel across all the media touch points. So e-shop, in-store, etc. This is what is retail media. So once the foundation are in place, you can start. And first you need to build a team that will be autonomous, agile, like a startup. And the way you have to build your team is you have to build your team on 3 skills. One, you need account management skills. You need people selling media, which is not an expertise you have at the retailer side. We are selling products, not media. We are purchasing media. And we are, as a retailer, typically we are a huge spender of media. So here it's to sell media. So that's an expertise you need to get in your team. You also need an expertise in a skill in operation and campaign management. And the third expertise you need in a retail media team is data analysis. So this is the way I've built my team around account management, operation, and data. And then of course, you need to define the data, the media assets you want to promote, and also, how can I put it? What is core? What are the core media assets, and also which partner for which media? That's also really important because sometimes you will decide to do it internally. You will go for full internalization. But for some other assets, you will go with a service provider, with a partner. So selecting the right partner to gain efficiency and or to create value is really important. So again, I will take your example because we are in partnership, Andy, with Criteo. I've selected Criteo as a partner to set up a native commercial display on eShop because I didn't have the expertise and there was a demand from a client, and it still does simplify the process internally, and it avoids for me heavy manual process and workload. So to me, in this area, it's logic. It makes sense to select a partner. For other I can do it internally. And this is always a kind of decision like this. And then, of course, define the process from A to Z with the partner and at the client side to make sure that we can deliver the media campaign from A to Z, because this is the service we offer to the brands. And then, of course, define the go-to-market, the pricing strategy, etc. But that makes sense, of course, when you run a business. Direct to clients or via media agency, all stuff like that. And at a certain moment, not the first year, but no, sorry, it's my dog. At a certain moment, you will need to optimize the process, do a re-engineering, but also to see how you can automate and speed up. Because now with the business I'm running now, we have too much volume. We need to automate. We need to campaign management tool. We need to innovate, of course, because there is a demand, but also we need to simplify to make sure that we can absorb the workload. But that's a nice problem to have.
Thanks, Olivier. Yeah, really insightful. And I think especially the hiring piece, right? Bringing in expertise externally that's not traditional for a retailer, but then also, yeah, the technology piece, making that decision as to whether to build versus buy ultimately, which is integral for the journey for a retailer. Charlotte, how are we doing for time?
Yes, I had one question from the audience as well, if I can ask that one. And it's Rasmus asking, can you tell us more about how to execute a digital database campaigns? What does it require for the retailers?
Sure. So,
okay.
Well, I'm fairly sure I understand the question. I'll have a stab at it, and then I might pass it over to Olivier as well, because I think it's probably more oriented at Olivier. But ultimately, and I'll talk about it from the context of what Criteo do as a technology provider. But ultimately, our technology enables a retailer to run advertising placements on their e-commerce site. So this could be sponsored products, like I showed at the beginning, or display advertising placements. And ultimately, our technology manages everything on behalf of the retailer. So we understand what all the users are doing on the retailer site and app through our integration with the retailer. So we understand clicks, views, browsing history, etc. And then we sort of absorb all this information. And we also integrate the retailer catalog, so the product feed, okay? And then we have the platform over here where the advertisers are actually logging in and creating campaigns, right? So then based on all that information together, we are then able, based on the business rules we agree with the retailer, we actually then serve the ads on the site or the app of the retailer on their behalf. And that's the role of like the Criteo technology. So in that case, in that example where a retailer like Deleuze will use the Criteo technology, we are basically saying to the retailer, you don't have to do that much, right? They have to, of course, integrate with us, but then we take care of all the ad serving, the platform for the advertisers, and we also provide a platform for the retailer. But of course, as Olivier said, like, you know, not every retailer will use a platform like Criteo. Some will develop their own solutions, right, in-house. So it's a decision that a retailer needs to make as part of their journey as to what the right like technology strategy is for their retail media business. I hope that's clear. Olivier, I'm not sure, you might want to add something to that perhaps?
I would not, yeah, I don't have a lot to elaborate on what you said. It was clear.
Okay.
Okay.
Nice.
I think we're running out of time, actually. I think I really want to thank you, all three of you. I think you covered a lot and gave us a lot of insights. And I think we are in, it will be really exciting to see the development of retail media in Sweden, it seems digital, we're just in the beginning, I think. So yeah, thank you so much. It was really, really interesting.
Well, yeah, from Criteo, thank you very much, Charlotte, and the IAB team for allowing us to host the session. And Sergi and Olivier, a massive thank you as well. Those were fantastic presentations, and I'm sure everyone found them super insightful. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks to you. Thank you all.
And have a nice weekend.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Bye, everyone. Have a lovely weekend.
And thank you, everybody who've been listening to. I wish you also a very nice weekend. So see you soon.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Charlotte. Bye, Andy.